horrible at your own feature, your own software, and your own application. You're just horrible. Horrible. And I have to start every video like this because it's like some horrible feat to get it to actually start streaming on your crappy system. If I use StreamYard, no problem. All right. So welcome everybody over here, although there's nobody here. And push this up a little bit more, I think. We'll get streaming on the other platform that matters. All right, well, if that's going to happen, I'm going to get some shit moved here real quick. Real quickly. What is this? Saws. Use for that bag now. Oh, that's on my way. All right, I'll try this again. Luckily, I had not yet started the good one. And we'll plug in that phone because that phone matters. I'll be here for like an hour. So welcome. Nobody's here yet. All right, I think that'll work over there. Work over there. I come into the middle like this. Should be okay, I think. Can reach everything. Oh, let's see. I think we can get this up a little bit more, which means I can get this up a little bit more. And we're now preparing to go live. Well, it looks like we got somebody over here. I don't see any comments, so feel free to comment. 3, 2, 1. And it looks like we're live. I'm going to go ahead and start the conversations going here with a hello. And welcome everybody. Had a little issues like always getting going here on time. We're going to be talking about the DJI drones. I can't tell you how much fun I've been having with these. We're going to talk about my adventures with these, how I got into them, the order I bought them, and then some of the accessories and other things that you're going to want to think about when we're flying. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we'll get started here. I wish I could adjust that a little bit better, but I guess we'll do with what we can do. All right, so again, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in there. I'm watching 2 different streams right now. These are the DJI. I don't know what DJI stands for, but it's a company that makes cameras and drones and all kinds of other things. And the drones they've been making for quite a while. In fact, my first DJI drone was way back in like 2018, almost 10 years ago. And I owned that for just a little while and never even got to fly it. I just played with it, charged it, and then had to sell it. And many years later, I bought it back again. But I've had tons of what I'm going to call less expensive drones that are more like toys. And what the DJIs do is give us just much more software, much better cameras, and much easier flying, much more controllable flying, that you don't have to be so on top of the flying of the thing. You can worry more about where it is and what you're filming. All right, so the first good DJI that I bought was this one. And we're going to be talking about a bunch of them, I guess. First, let's introduce them all here. And if you have any questions about any of these, feel free. We don't have to do them in order. And I don't see all the comments, so I'm going to keep trying to see if I see all the comments. But the first ones we're going to talk about is the Avata 2. It's this one. And this is an FPV, a first-person view type of drone. It has just this cover on the lens here and a battery in back. There's not much to it. But that's one of the nicer ones I have with one of the better cameras. I actually have two of them. And the cameras on these are really nice. The batteries last a good long time. The one that I use goes into this bag here. It's a set that comes with 3 batteries right away. Now that's a first-person drone. Another first-person drone that we don't have here on the table is the FPV drone combo, and that one would be pretty neat. That'll be my next drone probably. So then the next one we'll take a look at is this little guy that's right on the front. Everybody's been seeing probably is the Neo, and this one is a pretty cool little drone. Oops. That flies really fast. Well, it gets ready really fast. You just push the button, and that quick, it would be ready to fly. And it doesn't need a remote control. You can use a remote control if you want, but it doesn't need one. And it can use some of the nicest remote controls. So this one is one of the least expensive and one of the most fun to fly. I can't tell you how fun this one is to fly. So this is the Neo. Then we'll be taking a look at, well, there's 2 ways to get a lot of these. To buy the drone and maybe the remote controls, but then to buy what they call a Fly More combo. And that comes with 3 batteries right away. So you can get that either way. Then we talked about this Mini 3 Pro. We'll talk about it more, but this is a folding drone, so the arms fold out. It's a quadcopter, so there's 4 of them. Again, a cover over the lenses, or the gimbal. That's a fun set and one of my favorite ones to fly. Then we have the little guy over here, the Mini 4K, which is very similar. It's like his little brother, maybe his little sister. Very similar the way they fly and their abilities. We'll be taking a look at some of the remote controls, like this one that came with this set. Or you can also buy the remote control by itself here. If you needed to, we'll talk about the remote controls a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Next, because not all of them need a remote control, some of them can be flown with a phone. I'm going to recommend the Samsung S24 Ultra. This is a great phone that has a stylus and just a lot of features. It's going to be able to be updated by Android for the next 7 years. So it's a great phone that's a couple of years old at this point, but it's still got lots of features and it'll have a good lifetime. And it can do everything we need to do as far as syncing with the goggles or with the drones. Or updating software and things like that. It's handy to have that tool. Since you have the phone to control something like the Neo, I've brought in these X-Real glasses, and these are augmented reality glasses, meaning they're glasses. I'll take a closer look at them here in a bit, but just to quickly take a look at them. They're glasses. And right now they have a cover on the front to help them be even darker than they are. But they're sunglasses with an augmented, so they're going to add stuff to your reality. And what they can do is allow you to fly the Neo. I've seen some people do that on YouTube videos, so I have yet to achieve that, but I put it in here because that's a whole nother way to fly that's not really the goggles. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, feel free to throw them in there. So we'll take a closer look at those in a bit. That's kind of one of my newer projects, newer items to inventory here. Now, because you're going to be flying and there are updates and things like that, you might want to be online. And since I'm mostly flying out in the desert or out in the mountains, out in the woods, I like to bring the Starlink with me. And the Starlink is a great tool for any kind of camping or any kind of travel. Right now I have it in a silicone case, and then I have it sitting on top of a soft case that lets me carry all the mounts and all the extra cables. The cable I use most, and we'll talk about in this video though, is that straight to the DC power. So if you're running it out of a vehicle, or most power supplies will have a DC port, that lets you run your Starlink, and that's all you need is the Starlink and the cable. And then, like I say, I carry it around in a bag. Alright, next up is this little power supply that I guess I forgot to pull out here. So one of the things, again, you're going to need after you've flown for a little while is to recharge. And I carry this some support bags with me here. And in one of these, actually I got it in this support bag right here on the table that we'll be talking about in a bit. In this support bag, on this side of it, nope. I'm thinking about color coding these zipper ties or zipper pulls. But in here I have this power supply, and then it'll allow me to plug into the wall. And then I've got one for the vehicle as well. I'm just going to pull it out of here for the video. But this one's a weird number. So this one is 3-prong outlets on top, double on the side. Then there's USB, 2 C's and 2 A's. Got a power switch, real subtle, a 6-foot cord, real easy to carry that around. Then we need power when you're out and about. I like to have a little power supply. I'm using this one for a demo. Let's see, what do we got there? The retractable power for inside the car. So another thing inside my essentials bag over here, the possibilities bag, so to speak, is this little handy gizmo that gives you, again, from your power in your vehicle, these extensions for USB-C. And these charge very fast, 3 amps, very fast. We can talk more about that as we get into the power part. I've been pulling this stuff out of this little bag, which is super handy. It's kind of, well, that's what they call an electronic organizer bag. The one side that I've been pulling stuff out of is just a couple of pockets and a zipper pouch that zippers up. And then the other side is my favorite. That has all my weird connectors, my old stuff, my hard drives and stuff. And then all these are USB-C, a couple of fast power things underneath, and that helps when it's time to power these things up. We'll definitely talk about charging. It's a big part of this. Then we'll talk about the bags, and I forgot to bring this bag out here. Let me go grab it real quick while everybody's having a break. Feel free to ask any questions. Let's see, live chat, there we go. BJ's out there, welcome. I'm gonna go grab a bag. They don't have any room on the table for it, but I'll show it off here real quick. This is the Waciso bag, and I've been using this now for a couple of years. I didn't know how long this thing would last, but it has lasted through thick and thin, and I can actually put 2 drones in here with a bunch of camera gear. That's one of the more handy bags I've ever had, actually, in all my time. And all this stuff right now is on the big sales. So then we got this, which is really a lunch bag, but my Avanta fits in there, the 3 fits in there, and then there's room for more. It's padded and insulated. The last thing we'll talk about just briefly is this little Bluetooth speaker phone holder. Just handy. I don't like to put my phone down if I can help it, especially an expensive phone. So setting it on a holder like this is pretty handy. And then it's also a Bluetooth speaker, so you can take phone calls like I just missed right there. All right, so now we can get into it a little bit more. And again, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to throw them out there, but we'll be taking a look at all these different drone things. I'm going to probably move this a little bit closer so you can see a little bit more of what we're looking at together here. Oh, we got a bunch of people out there. Welcome to everybody who's watching. Feel free to ask questions or whatever. The DJIs, again, are just a whole level above most of the other drones that I've used out there, and I've owned and used quite a few of them over the days and years here. All right, there you go. Been fiddling around with my cameras. I think I got it figured out here. As soon as I figure out where to put this foot. Got the tripods figured out. I don't know where to put my feet now. All right. So let's start with the one I started with, and that's this 3, the Mini 3 Pro. And again, I got this one in the combo where you get a couple of batteries right away. And most of the time when you're talking about the DJIs, you're talking about the camera first, because that's what we're really talking about, is a camera drone, right? So it's the camera first and then the body. And the rest of the drone is really just the propellers, of course, and then the brain that tells the propellers what to do whenever there's wind or whatever. Some kind of sensors, and that's what I think these warts are on the fancy ones. These are radars. I don't know if mine has radar really, but there's some sensors, and then there's the cameras, and there's some built-in cameras for tracking where it is on the earth, and then there's some cameras for like what we're filming. With these, they keep the blades far enough apart so they don't touch each other, and that means that they need to be kind of spread out in a rectangle square, and that gives them this overall shape. Then once you've got your ability to get into the air, like I said, it all goes back to that camera. So one of the things is the gimbal, the wiggly part that physically holds the camera from, or like on a horizon, and then that keeps the filming pretty good as far as being steady. But then how big that camera is, and I think of it as like how big the eye is. I don't know if it's physically bigger or not, but the internals there, how big those are, is where how much you're paying for these things and where they put it in their professional or amateur category. So this guy, I believe, is about the smallest of this professional level cameras in a very small drone. So like the very minimal, what you might consider a professional level camera. What would have been a really good camera, I'm sure, a few years ago, but the cameras are just getting better and better and better all the time. So the newest ones are not much bigger than this because of they don't need to be. Their cameras are more like this size though. The cameras are just physically getting bigger because there's more going on up there, and they're able to put that into, it's pretty much the same size chassis, let's say. But that's sort of a race for technology, and because I only play, I don't do anything with my videos. I just play with them. I like to fly my drones like toys. I don't chase the newest and biggest and best. So I started with this one, and this was actually a pretty big jump for me, and it kind of wasn't sure. I was making a risk to see if I was going to like this thing, and it was so much better than all the other drones I've ever played with that I just was looking for excuses to get out and play with it. So I got to where I can pretty much move this drone anywhere I want. I can't quite keep an object in focus yet and do this kind of thing, but I can put the drone wherever I want. And because the camera is a whole nother, it's a set of fingers that, you know, I still have to get my brain to catch up. So I can move the drone where I need it to, but keeping the camera, which is a whole nother set of motions or controls, I guess. I'm still working on that, but that's been a challenge, and I'm really enjoying how fast this one can move. This one can go in 26-mile-an-hour winds. The most I've taken it up in is maybe 19 or 20, which the drone is doing this, trying to not fly away. And even with the drone doing this, the footage looks crystal clear, looks amazing. And that just blew me away. So I understand why people get bigger ones, because in that, 20-mile-an-hour winds is pretty big. But if you're next to the shore, certain places, you're going to always have winds. If you need to battle those winds, this little 250 something gram drone, even with all its technical ability, just doesn't have big enough motors to fight that kind of wind. So that's why they do make much bigger ones. Now DJI makes way bigger drones. This is the one I started with, though. I think, what is it? Oh, it's on sale. You can see what it costs. Actually, this is about what I paid when I got it on sale also. So that's a pretty good deal. And that's with the 3 batteries right away. So why don't we take a second and talk about the batteries? I buy all mine, like I say, you can buy all of these pretty much just the drone, or usually the drone and the remote control, or with a 3-pack of batteries. They call that the fly more combo, because you can fly more, right? Because you have more batteries. So what it'll work is you take your first battery and you start flying, and depending on the drone, and again, if it's super strong winds and you're doing all kinds of stuff, the battery's not going to last as long. If there's no wind at all and you're just setting up there, the battery probably lasts a long time. So their battery will last 20 to 30 minutes, let's say. I mean, it kind of depends on so many things, but let's say 20 to 30 minutes. So you use that first one, 20, 30 minutes. Use the second one, 20, 30 minutes. Let's say you put this in a charger, and this thing's been charging now for 20 to 30 minutes, another 20 to 30 minutes. By the time you're done with all 3 batteries, you can almost get back to that first battery and get some more flight time. So it's really fun having these. Now, what I'll end up doing is fly someplace and then drive somewhere, then fly somewhere, fly around again, drive somewhere. So I'll use one battery, plug it in while we're driving. It'll start to charge that battery. Then I'll go to the next place and maybe use a fresh battery. The thing is smart enough to start charging that first battery only until it's full. Then it'll get to that second battery. So, I can kind of stage these, I guess is what I'm saying. And I really like having 3. You don't always fly for an hour. But if you want to fly for 10 minutes and you want to fly for 10 minutes and you might want to fly for 30 minutes, you don't have to guess if your batteries are full. Oh, I should say, you can also just tap the battery thing and it'll light up and tell you, this is the one I've been using, it looks like. These are fresh. What's also neat is I could use this to charge. I can charge my phone off of this or some other batteries or something. This is basically a big power bank, kind of an extra feature of these things. Oh, you know what? Something I forgot to put on here. I always forget. I keep a Kestrel. I talked about how fast the wind speed was, and that's because I have a little wind speed indicator. I should have put that in there. I'd like to keep them with all my drones, so whenever I'm flying, mainly it's like canyons or over rivers and stuff that can get pretty windy, and the drones will tell you how fast the wind's going, but before you get the drone up, you can tell real quick. All right, we've got lots of people watching. Feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're joining in from. I'm going to take a second and take a drink here. I don't know if we're getting any comments on the other side. I'll take a look over there. But here's the other side. You can say welcome. And then this side, you can say welcome to this group. There's 2 different groups here. Hope everybody's having a great, Tuesday? Different time of day for everybody. It's still morning, I think, for us. Is it? Oh yeah, it's still morning for us. I tell you, I had so much trouble getting this thing started on both lives that feels like it's afternoon already. DJ Sini's from Central US. What's the biggest draw on the drone's battery power? Like wind speed? Are there any? I forgot, I couldn't see it because it disappears, but it's a good question. Thanks for the question. DJ asked that one. Now, I've been using them for a couple of years now. For me, it's wind. Because what's weird is a couple of times out here, I'm in Arizona, and I've flown these in Arizona, New Mexico, pretty much all over. A couple of places where there's just nothing, right? And I can really get out there with this guy. It's usually this guy that I'm doing everything with. I really get out there and then go over. This one time I was coming back from Vegas and there's this big stretch of desert. I went out this way. Well, first I went out this way. This was one battery. I went out this way. It was like a hill, and I kind of went around the hill. Like I say, I'm still trying to figure out how to get a good, whatever that's called, where you spin around and keep a focus on one point without using the robot. The robot can probably do it, but I tried to do it with my fingers. Anyway, I went out and got this hill, and that was pretty far away. Then I came back and figured the battery was still good, so I flew it as far as I could this way until I wasn't comfortable anymore because it was really far away. And then I kind of went around a hill, and then I could tell from the remote control that I still had battery. So then I flew it all the way back over to that first hill, still had battery, flew it all the way back over. And I mean, this was far, and it still had battery left in it. So I think it was just because it was so calm. I mean, those were huge distances, though. There's other times in comparison where I'll just pick it up in a parking lot, or like that time when it was really windy. I took it up. I kind of went like this, a little bit further than that, but I kind of went up and did one of these, and it was so windy and everything I thought it was going to break. So I kind of brought it down, and then I had to kind of fight with it to get it close enough to where I could grab it out of the air. And that, I mean, not much longer than I just explained. It really almost took a whole battery. So it can really take a lot of batteries when those motors are cooking. But I've only had a few experiences. I don't take it up when it's real windy because I don't want to lose them and risk it falling into a tree, although it really doesn't. But just in case, I don't really take it up when it's real windy, so I don't have a lot of experience, I guess. It's not like I've gone to the shore or something and needed to fly because I'm only there for 2 days or something. All right, so that was the first one I got, and I decided to buy it with this controller, which has the screen right built in. There's 2 of these. I didn't know it. I bought the earlier version, and I should have bought the next version, which has little antennas, because that version would work straight with this guy. This wasn't on my horizon. I don't even know if this was invented when I bought. I guess it was invented. I just wasn't on my horizon. So I bought this one. I'm not complaining. This thing is awesome. So from my experience with other types of drones, you'll have the controller with no screen, and then you have to plug a phone into it. Having a nice phone is nice, but now your phone is tied up doing that. And well, that's the main thing, is your phone's tied up doing that. And there's always some sort of complication with DJI. It is nicer, a better connection between the phone and the controller, but having it built in like this is even better. So basically I just turn it on. I can't really do it here because I'm close to an airport, but I would just turn it on. I would turn on the drone. There's plenty of videos out there where people are doing that, and they sync up basically as fast as it takes them to turn on. They're connected to each other. I'm turning this off by trying to turn it off by tap and hold. So DJIs are all like that. It's sort of a fail-safe so that they don't get bumped and turn on, but you have to tap and then hold to turn on, and then tap and hold to turn off. Just FYI, if you ever come across a DJI and it doesn't seem like it's turning on, there's that little kind of code or tempo to get it going. Cadence, maybe, to get it going. You guys have been looking at nothing, I think. Maybe I can turn that. So, yeah, I think you can see more now. So, oh, there's somebody joining from Amazon. Welcome. So let's see. So I was talking about how I bought it with the screen on it, and I really like that when it's so fast. It also has a SD card in the controller. There's an SD card in the robot, in the drone. So this is where I get most of my footage, and I probably should have put the card on here too, but I usually buy decent cards. This one is a Kingston, kind of designed for this kind of application, and yeah, it really does well. So because you don't know if something's gonna happen to that drone, and I'm trying to jam that card, it just goes into the back here. There it goes, just in the back, and that's next to a USB. So if you really needed to and you didn't have the battery pack thing, you can just leave the battery in there and charge the whole drone and battery at the same time. I think you can also pull videos off if you plug into it. I'm not sure, I've never done that. But anyway, I have the SD card in both. That way you always have sort of a copy. If I'm missing anything on this, I think I've pretty much covered the reasons I bought this one and how happy I am with it. And I guess the disadvantages of this style is that the arms have to be folded and unfolded. Not that it's a big deal, but then it takes a second. You have to kind of remember the order, I guess, a little bit on some of them, not on all of them. And then when you're putting it back together, sometimes they make like a rubber band, a rubber silicone sleeve or something to put around them, but you just have to kind of be careful as you're putting it back into the slot that those blades don't have anything goofy. Have anything goofy happening to them. Excuse me. So as opposed to this style, or the Avanta, which the blades are permanent, but they're in these shrouds, so a lot easier to deal with. Not that one's better than the other. These are certainly faster, but these have much more power, at least for me. These have much more power. All right, so next we'll talk about the little 4K. I just put that little guy away, but the big difference here is that this is smaller. So they all have different batteries. It's kind of an annoying part of them. Let's see, how does this battery come out? I forget. Oh, you flip up the back and then the battery comes out. So they all have a different battery situation, but batteries are most of their weight. This little guy has a pretty decent camera, but nowhere near the camera of this one, nowhere near the camera of that one. Probably somewhere similar to this guy. Big difference here is gimbal, so it can move. And I guess we could talk more about the gimbals. So again, if the wind was blowing this thing all over, that gimbal is going to stay. That's the magic of the gimbal. The motors are going to keep that kind of stabilized and looking at whatever you want, no matter what the drone is doing. And sometimes the drone is just driving real fast, and then it'll break. And in that case, the gimbal is just steady. You know, the drone will speed up, and it'll still be straight, and then it'll break. And this is how the drone breaks. It kind of slows down like this. And the gimbal is sort of like the head on a bird. If you ever seen people wiggle a chicken? I think wiggling a chicken is a thing, right? But if you wiggle a chicken, its head stays put, and that's sort of what these do. They kind of look like a shark eating something. That's what I've been told. I think that I could agree to that. But anyway, this one's the 4, and it's a neat one. It's an inexpensive, comes with the controller right away. If you're looking to get into them and kind of want to put your toe in the water, this is probably a good option if you want a quadcopter. But I'm going to hesitate because we're about to talk about another one here in a second, which should be my number 1 choice. Oh, I'm not really doing these in order, am I? So that was actually, well, it might have been the second one I got now that I'm thinking about it. I guess on the screen here is this thing. You can upgrade to these, and this is the one I think that I don't know if I connected to the right one or not, but they make a couple of them, and they do have the difference is one was made first. A couple years later, the next one came out. So, you know, a couple years later can connect with more robots because it, you know, existed later. But you can buy these after the fact if you want to upgrade to this one with a screen, or if you're looking for a gift for somebody who has one of these types of robot drones, a screen on their controller, if they don't already have that, is a great upgrade. It really is cool. All right, so then the next one I bought is this guy, and this has to be my favorite, and this is the one I will recommend. If you're only going to buy one, buy this one. So this is the Neo, and it's fairly new. All it needs, I showed you earlier, is to take the thing off the front. It'll actually fly with this. I've forgotten it on before. It doesn't like it because it can't look around as much, but it can see right through it. You don't even know it's on, but it's not good for it, I guess. Anyway, you turn it on again by tap and hold. Now, technically, this thing's going to connect and go, you're too close to an airport, so I'm not going to let it stay on too long. But that's all you'd have to do. Now, this one uses hand controls. I don't know what they are, but you can like wave at it and wiggle and do peace signs and stuff, and that'll tell it to do stuff. It's really fun. If you're out in like a field or out or something, this thing is just amazing. Now, I use it with my phone. So I use the remote control, or when I bought it, I used the remote control on the phone, which is just the DJI app. And that runs very similar to this style control, which we didn't really talk about. Let me turn this guy off. You turn it off again by tap and hold, tap and hold. going off. There it went. Just didn't make any noises on the way down. And then I'll always put this on so I don't forget and accidentally. This guy does have a gimbal. Its gimbal is a little bit less. It just goes up and down. It doesn't wiggle and stuff. But I still don't want it to get unnecessarily smashed around. Let's talk quickly about how these controls work, because we're about to talk about different controls. So we kind of talked about the hand controls. I think this is the only one that can use hand controls. This guy might, I don't know. But these controls, normally people pull out these joysticks and screw them on. But for me, I just learned to fly without these, and I like it better. So for this, like, look at how much you have to move, where, you know, to up and down, you can just touch. So I don't personally like these things, but they are neat. They're metal, I think, and they fit underneath here, so it's not like you have to worry about them. They're there. But I fly it like this. So this is up and down. This is turn left and right. So if you pull this to the left or to the right, that's moving the drone like this. Up and down here is straight up and down like an elevator. Now on this side, up and down, or forward and back, is forward and back. So you push forward, it goes forward, pull back, it pulls back. On the right side joystick, when you go right, it moves right. When you turn left, it turns left. The fun part is when you spin and go left. And that's where you're spinning and you're going left, and that's what I'm having to master. And that turns out to be this. So that means you're doing this or this or this or something. So anyway, that's all neat. And then you add, you know, your height to that. So it can be a lot of fun to fly these with this style remote control. Now, what you also have going on is your camera. So let's see, I got all this going on. There's also a touch screen, I should have mentioned, that I get a lot of my controls I don't have to do up here because I got the touch screen, so I can turn on my camera and stuff. But some of these buttons are to like turn on your camera on a standard controller that doesn't have a screen. Like this is how you turn on your camera. This one is neat. The little button underneath here will turn the thing from horizontal to vertical and from vertical to horizontal. So you can take like selfies or something with it. This button underneath will take the camera as you're flying and the camera's looking forward, and it'll look straight down. So that's kind of neat if you just wanted to look straight down and don't want to have to wait for the camera to aim. It'll just flip it straight down and then flip it straight back up again. So there's some extra buttons there. And then, I mean, I can't even tell you how many extra features you have once the screen is on and you have all your touchscreen features. Okay, then you have the Neo, which you can use hand waving and stuff. It just uses AI or something to see what you're doing. But then let's get to, back to the front here, to these FPVs. So the way it worked for me is I put the Neo, and then I decided I want to try it with the goggles. So I bought a pair of goggles. Then I figured out you need the little remote control. It's like a separate remote control that only works with the FPVs, and it's totally different. And I can't even tell you how it works, as I'm still figuring it all out, or at least all the way. But I wanted to try these, or this with the goggles. I had to buy the goggles, and then I figured out I needed the remote controls. So that's what prompted me to buy the Avanta set. And now I have the Avanta, which uses this control, and then it uses some goggles. So we have a couple of different goggles here. We'll take a look at those in a bit. So this is the third kind of control, and this one's super fun. So this is for your FPVs, and I can't say that I've mastered the standard controls by any means, and I'm not even interested in doing the hand controls. This thing is totally different. So you're going to hold on to it like you can imagine. Now you've got a bunch of different buttons here. This one is your takeoff and landing, and you're also your brakes. I forget what this is, probably speed or something, because there's different speeds. They can go at high speed, medium speed, and then what they call like a cinematic, which is a very slow and deliberate speed. And then you got your button to turn on and off your camera. This is a dial, and I don't know what that dial does yet. And then this is your forward and backwards, and it's not necessarily intuitive to me because I think this is forward and this is forward, and that's backward. I can't remember anymore. And then there's a joystick, but this thing also knows where it is in space. So when you're holding it and you do this or this, like if it was a joystick and you push forward or back, that turns the gimbal up and down. So you're looking through goggles, and now the gimbal's going up and down because you're moving your hand. When you move it from here, if you roll, and now your joystick changes functionality from this to pivot. So that's also very difficult to figure out. Once you've mastered it, that's how you get these robots when you see them just do crazy breaks and like dives and all the acrobatic stuff, is because the controller is so adaptive or understanding. I don't know what the word is for it. I've just had a chance to play with this for a few hours, and I cannot wait to spend more time doing it. This is by far the funnest thing I've ever done, is flying with the goggles and the FPVs. It does film, so you are making video, but it's like imagine being a little tiny person inside of this remote controlled airplane, and you're flying around a park or a playground or somebody's garage or a big building or something. Like, this is, you're inside of this looking out, and your goggles make it look like you're inside of whatever. I've been flying this one more than the big one because the big one's so fast. I'm scared to fly it. I haven't figured it out yet. So this guy's so small that it's a little easier to control for me as I'm practicing and learning. But yeah, it's just really fun. Another part of it that I haven't quite figured out is that when you have the goggles on, there's like a laser dot essentially. And what you're doing is, when you're holding this, you're also moving a laser dot that's augmented on your reality. And that's what the robot is, like a cat chasing a laser dot. It's always chasing that little dot. So you have to be conscious of what you're doing, but then also where your little dot is on the screen. So that's kind of what it's tracking. Very fun. So that was my evolution through them. Because I bought the goggles and then I bought the set of goggles, I ended up with 2 sets of goggles. And that might seem dumb, but the fun part is they can be used together. So now you can pilot with one set of goggles, and someone can watch or be part of it with this set of goggles. Just so one person's got the controls, both people are seeing out the camera. So that seems super fun. You can also do that to a television, I think, or to a phone. Hit a restaurant sign or something. Yeah, I have done that before for sure. So these, I think the Avanta has radar or anti-collision stuff in it. Because I've been running it very slow, but I haven't hit anything with it. I can tell you, this guy, I have now started to hit things. I've never hit anything being. I guess another thing to think about is when you're flying it with this kind of control, you're standing here looking at this. So if it's about to hit a tree, you know it because you're watching it. When you're in it and you're about to come up and hit something like this, you don't know it until you hit it. And that's what I've done a bunch of times, is come too close to something and then hit it out of control. And then I'm not used to bringing it back into control again. So that part was pretty tough. Well, no, it wasn't pretty tough. I've hit 2 things already with this, and it doesn't look like anything's been hit. I'm afraid of what's happening inside, but so far, knock on wood. There's there's been no notice. And I went, I'm gonna say pretty fast the second time I hit something. I hit my door of my van really fast, and like the edge of it, I don't even see where it hit. So I was afraid it was like gonna knock it all apart, but evidently they engineer this or design it in such a way that the design probably takes a lot of the impact. All right, well, if there's any questions or anything, I can definitely answer them. Otherwise, we'll continue to dig into the different pieces here. I really have no idea what time I started, so does this tell me? I think that says 40 minutes ago, so maybe 40 minutes ago we started. We'll get back to the Avita, I guess. Kind of comparing it to the little brother. No, see, I'm dropping it again. So I think you can kind of tell just from the size of this guy how big the blades are and how much weight there is or how much plastic there is compared to this guy and how big his blades are. I've never driven this thing out of beginner mode, and beginner mode is basically with a really intensive throttle, so it doesn't go very fast at all. But I can only imagine. I've seen people fly these, and I can't wait till I can get to where I understand its, physics, so I can start taking it out a little bit quicker. But I can tell you that it is not really frustrating. It's really incredibly fun to have something to learn like this. There's very few times anymore. I'm pretty old. When's the last time I had to learn something really new? Now, it may be different for the kids with the video games because they're used to wiggling their fingers and having stuff happen. So maybe it's a little different for them. But for me, I've really enjoyed just having the new thing to learn, I guess is the way to say it, or experience the new thing to fiddle with. I'm going to try checking the chats over here. Where are you from? I'm from Arizona. Looking forward to barbecue criping about the food on the trains. If he had a drone, he wouldn't be criping because he'd be just thinking about where he's going to stop and drone at. All right, so then, well, I'm poked at the Avant. I'm trying to think of what else I can say about it. I'm still new to it. Definitely don't regret it. I would, well, it's the second one I bought, so definitely interested in them. And this will be the next one I get. So this one looks the coolest out of all of them. I'm guessing it's going to be something similar to these, so I'm going to wait until I figure out how to fly these better. But then I'll be grabbing that one there. The Neo again. I don't know, is there anything to say about it that I haven't? Let's turn it on again. Tap and hold. So tap the first time shows you how much battery's in it, and you can see that battery's almost dead. Tap and hold. There we go. So when you turn this one on, there is another button on this one. Most of the time they usually have just a button to turn on, but this one has another button. So watch what happens when I push these buttons.
Droney.
So I forget what Droney is. I think Droney is what, it's like a selfie. Like it goes away from you, takes a snapshot, comes back to you.
Circle.
Circle is like it says, it's going to go away from you, and then it's going to do that circle around you and then come back to you. And then in the settings, you'll tell it, and I think you can even cycle through settings on here. You can tell it how big that radius of that circle is going to be. 8 feet, 18 feet, something like that.
Rocket.
Okay, rocket is the fun one, I think. It just takes the drone, goes a little bit away. It doesn't even go away from you, I think. It just starts to go up, except that the gimbal starts to look down. So it'll just go and go straight up as fast as it can, which this cannot go up very fast. It takes forever to go up, I think, because I've almost always flown it on top of a mountain. So it might be the altitude that restricts it from going up very fast, but this thing does not go up very fast. Anyway, that's what the that one is. It just goes straight up.
Spotlight.
Ooh, what is Spotlight? I don't remember what Spotlight does.
Direction track.
I think that's when it tracks you. I think that's when it just follows you, like if you're walking or something.
Follow.
Nope, that's follow. So I don't know what motion track is. Follow is when it'll launch and then you start walking, it'll just follow you. And then you stick out your hand and it'll come and land on your hand.
Droney.
And then it goes through the cycle again. But that's how you run this without any kind of remote control. You can just turn it on, cycle through. Now you can again use your phone and the app and set like the size of the circle. I think there might be a way to change the cycle to like add different, what do they call those, like acrobatic acts or something, and add different ones. I haven't played with that because it's just not my thing. I like playing like a little airplane. I don't really care about taking selfies or anything. But if you are interested in filming videos and taking selfies and things, I mean, this is not quite where you just throw it into the air, but you just hold your hand out, and I forget what the motion is. You do something and it goes and it just takes off and leaves, and then waits for you to point at it to tell it what to do. So it is getting pretty neat. It's kind of like a little flying monkey, to some extent. Flying puppy. No, it's smarter than a puppy. Flying monkey. Maybe not smarter than a puppy, but it has like the ability to use tools more like a monkey. All right, now let's talk about goggles. Did I even put the goggles? separate in here? I guess I should have. So the goggles are neat. You're going to get them with the Avita or with that other FPV. So I'll just go up and click on those again. And you're going to get the Goggles 3. This is what they're called. The Goggles 3 have a separate eye thing for each side. And they're pretty neat because you can adjust them and take this thing out. There's even not magnified, but like +2, -2 adjustments. So you can kind of set these up because you're not going to wear glasses inside of here if you have a prescription or anything. You'll just kind of adjust them to be in focus. Now there's 2 screens essentially, but it looks like you're looking at one screen, and you got something like a 44-degree field of view. You'll turn it on over on the side here, and like everything, tap and hold. And then when it comes on, I don't know if it's going to work showing you in here, but what it's going to try to do, saying DJI in there, and then it's going to try to connect to whatever the last one it connected to. All right, now it's not doing anything. I don't know. It's probably because it's not finding anything, but it's taking a little time to get started here. But whenever it gets going, is it on? Yeah, it's on. We've got the batteries there. We've got a little joystick up top here. And then we've got a little button. So the joystick, you wiggle through the different menus, and then you got a little button to select stuff. And yeah, I don't know why this one isn't popping on. So I shut it down. But basically, that's the 3. You're going to have a counterweight on the back, and it's really fast. Like, it's a real quick cinch. So this is real easy to put on. And then this isn't way too much, but it is weight. So this counterbalances it, and it's real comfortable. And you really don't notice because what you're seeing in there is what your drone is seeing. So you don't really care what's on your head. What's neat about this pair, you tap the side here, just anywhere, and that turns on these cameras. So now you're looking straight forward through this. Your screens are just looking straight through, like not really binoculars, but you can walk around and do things. So that's kind of a neat feature of the 3s. The 3 ends are different. The 3 ends are similar because they have this back thing, and that's an adjustable ratchet thing, and that's counterbalancing. They turn on the same. But when these turn on, you've got 2 windows looking at one screen. So this is more like a phone out in front of you that you're looking at. And this box is bigger. The eye box is bigger, so you can wear prescription glasses on this. All right, neither one of them are doing anything. I think they have to have something else turned on for them to even connect to something. So I'll turn on the remote control. And now that the remote control is turned on, we'll see if this guy decides to come to life. We can see it. Can you see it saying DJI in there? It's really hard to see. You can kind of see there's something going on in there. And down at that black line at the bottom right down here is saying that it's trying to connect to the drone that it can't find because none of the drones are turned on. But you can get the idea of how these goggles are going to work. A lot of fun. Let's try to get it to this camera. So that little black line down there is saying it can't connect, but that little line is just, on the bottom right of your screen if you're looking at this. I'm gonna go ahead and turn them back off again, just so I don't waste batteries so nothing's happening. So that's the big difference between the two is they came out with the 3s first, and the 3s are what ships with all the different drones. The 3 ends were supposed to be sort of your friend's gonna watch you drone or whatever. So they're cheaper, they're less expensive, but now they're not available anywhere. So I guess they didn't last very long, but they're just a little bit different design, and they're kind of made to be the co-pilot drone, the co-pilot goggles, I think. All right, so let's see. So I think you got to see a couple of different things here. Turn everything off so we don't leave things turned on. My worst fear is that I go out and drive all the way out somewhere and all my batteries are dead. So because of that, I carry around some power stuff. Let's get into that. It's not quite the funnest part of it, but I can give you some tips or whatever. So going down to power. I just found these not too long ago, but I'm really enjoying them. They're small power extension cords, essentially. 3-prong on one side. So if I plug it into, let's say, my power supply or at a hotel or something, I now turn one plug into 6, really, 3 grounded and 3 standard. And that'll help me if I have like a lamp or something. Maybe I don't have a plug anywhere, but I can plug this in, plug that lamp in or clock or something that was connected to it. And now I only have 5 extras, but at least I have 5 plugs, right? Then I also get 2 USB A's and 2 USB C's. And I think these are pretty powerful. It says the output is 3 amps. So with 3 amps, you're going to get the super fast charging. So that's pretty handy. And like I said, I just carry that in a small bag like this, along with some other stuff, some support gear, I guess you'd say. This is the bag that we've got here. And I kind of just stumbled across this bag and thought, maybe I should get a bag for my wires. And I haven't looked back. Having this little book for all my little wires is the way to go. You get elastic up top, little pouch over here. You can see what the plugs are real fast. This is sort of my go-to for all things, not just for the drones. So lots of power, all the USB-Cs, and then all the weird stuff. Because every once in a while you get some clock or some weird light or something that uses one of the old plugs. Or if I'm pulling stuff off an old hard drive, I've got some of those old hard drive ones. On the other side, I've got that power thing for the vehicle, and that's sort of or an extension or a retractable cord with USB-Cs. I also have a little light panel. These are for putting on your camera rig, but they're just handy to have as like a little light panel if you need light while you're working on stuff. This is something you can plug into the phone or the computer. I don't think I have it in the list, but just to plug in an adapter, a big adapter. And then I also have a GPS tracker in here. So if you have this stuff with your gear and it gets grabbed, well, you know where it's at. Anyway, this little pouch allows me to keep all that and more, really, in a little satchel like this. Easy to dump into this big bag for sure. It's kind of padded, but mainly it's just super nice to have that organized. I'm talking about this yellow bag here, which is, what do they call it? An extra large soft cooler, I think, because it's this silver material inside, but it's also this like styrofoam, or what is this? Whatever this kind of foam is, but it's designed to keep the thing cool, but it also keeps my drones cool. If it's a hot day or whatever, it's a nice yellow reflective. I can see it from afar. I keep all my drones in their bags in here so I can kind of deploy from it, keep this in the trunk or in the back of the vehicle, and then kind of get my drones in and out of that. Really like this bag, and it's a pretty good deal right now. Let's just talk about this real quick again. I always like to set my phones down upright, even when I'm charging. I'll just push this phone thing up a little bit and plug it in and let it charge. It's just my thing. I just rather have it upright than have it laying on the horizontally for sure. And I guess if you really wanted to put it in this way and watch a movie, that's probably what it's kind of for, because this is a Bluetooth speaker. So I got this because if we're out flying or something, this folds up. It's easy enough to keep with. It doesn't weigh anything. It looks like it's heavy, but it's basically it doesn't weigh like anything. But then it is got some battery in it, so it is heavy enough that it's not going to tip over. But then this way, I just always have my camera to either use as a tripod or to use on the screen side, or use it this way as a tripod. And it's easy enough to carry around, and they're on sale right now, so I put it in there. We can talk about this bag again. I'll probably do a whole nother video with the stuff that's in this bag, because this is all my camera gear. but that will be a separate video. This top portion, which right now just has one of my dog's avocados in it, is where I put my drone. So this drone set, if I were to drop everything back into it and get that strap off the ground, this thing fits right into the top here. It is like it was made for it. Now I may be dumb and maybe it is made for it, but it is really fast for me to deploy this drone. I keep it in the top like this. I just have to one zipper and it's out, second zipper and it's ready to go. That thing in the back there is the landing pad, and that folds up and fits right in here. And if I needed to, I could keep extra stuff up here, charging cables and SD cards sometimes. So this bag is great. The rest of the bag is all my cameras and tripods and stuff. We'll talk about that in a separate video. But I can't remember how many years ago now I bought this bag. Honestly, I didn't know how long it was going to last. It seemed like a nice bag, but I am not tender with it, and it has lasted through a lot. And I am not tender with it. I figure I can get another one, and it has proved itself worthy for sure over and over. So that bag is, for people that are over here, I'm clicking on the Amazon items on the screen over here. Let's see, so that was some of the bags that we used. Then we have that retractable power thing. Like I say, when you're using DC power, it's nice to be able to charge up one of these power packs, especially if you're just driving from like some waterfalls to a big meadow or something, or top of a hill. Then you've got time to charge all the time. When you don't have time to charge, especially something like a phone, these little battery packs are super cool. They look like a flask. Of course, I don't have a cord with me. Oh, I just do. I have a ton of cords, don't I? So let me show you what I do. Is I usually take a USB-C like this, and I'll do just about what I did right here. Just kind of have it folded a few times. And these little things that attach to the lid are rubber. So I'll just jam the cord through one. And I'm trying to do it up in the air, but if I jam it through one and then through the second one, what I end up with is the cable I might need with it kind of tethered to the top, and I'll put it in. I usually store it this way if it's not in a bag with a whole bunch of other cables already like it is right now. But I like this thing a lot. You open up these tops, which are kind of like a flask, I guess, and that's where your ports are. And there's a button on the side here, so you can get an indicator on the back of how much. A lot of them will have a light. This one doesn't, but yeah, it looks cool, so I went with this one. They do make one that's just a single, and then they make a really small one too, if you like that ruggedized thing but want a smaller one. Well, I guess now we'll get back to the Starlink. So all this stuff is neat, and if you're out and about and you're not going to be back anytime soon and you want to upload some of your video or something, having that Starlink is the way to go. I'll move this goggles over. Having the Starlink is a good thing, and then carrying around, this is the Starlink, there's nothing to it. It's like this little plastic thing that's not very thick, and then that little kickstand to keep it at the right angle, and then a cord. The cord plugs in underneath and then into power. That's all it's doing, is plugging into power, and then it is your antenna and your modem and your wireless router. So your phones and your computer will just wirelessly connect to that. There is a jack on it. It's got a rubber plug in it, and if you want to, you could hardwire it, but you don't have to. You can just wireless connect to it. Now, I have seen some things where you can run power from like a drill battery, like a Milwaukee or a DeWalt drill battery. I'm going to look into something like that because that would be cool too. But getting that case is handy because I do have a bunch of mounts. If I wanted to mount this kind of semi-permanently on a pole or a tripod or something like that, I could keep those mounts in there. And then I have a bunch of different cords in case I have some other type of power supply. And then some different covers and things for it that are all in that pouch. And that pouch is kind of cool. It's camouflaged. Really cool company too. And that's the cord I use all the time. At least the last trip, I almost always use this cord because it takes me straight from the Starlink straight to the power, nothing extra. The actual Starlink cable that comes with it has this on both ends. So it goes from Starlink to Starlink, and then you have a different connector for wall or DC. This is just kind of getting it all in one cord, and that's just a little handy, a little more efficient, I guess. And the cord is about half as long, which is nice. I like having the long cord, but I'm not installing it on the roof of an RV. You know, I'm putting it on the roof of my van or something, so I only need about a 10-foot cord usually. And the Starlink itself is amazing. It's super portable. It takes just a moment or two to connect. Right now, I can just look at it and tell you it's pointing the wrong way. I'd have to turn it almost exactly the other way and point it up. But once you get used to it, if you're good at keeping your orientation on the planet, then it's real easy to just know. Like, I can set mine up in a moment because I know where north is and what direction off the north it likes to be. So you get super fast internet, almost as fast as I get at home. And I'm gonna wait for this plane to go by. Take another drink. Who can guess what I'm drinking? It's probably like 90 degrees out, 90 something degrees out. So it's not iced or it's not cold, it's not hot coffee, I can tell you that. Let's see, so that's the Starlink. You don't need Starlink, but the drones do want to update every once in a while. And like I say, if you're out and about and you'd rather get, share your stuff before you get home, Starlink will let you do it. Now these X goggles, let's check these things out. So first off, they got these covers, and I just left them on, but because they're just regular kind of sunglasses, if it's daytime and you need more dark, these are just covers that go on the outside to make it kind of opaque, so that now they're super dark. But we'll just open them here, and we can see that they're glasses with these extra little thingies going on. And you get this cord. There's no batteries or anything. You get this cord, and it plugs in. This isn't for recharging. This is more like a mouse. This doesn't need power, or this is like a display. This doesn't need power. It just plugs into your phone so that it has somewhere to plug in. I don't know if I can plug it in while I'm live. Let's see what happens if I plug it in while I'm live, what you see. Or how it jumps or what it does. So it did do something. Or did it? Oh yeah. See, it's so light out. Let me put the shades back on. I don't know if you're gonna be able to, well, it says my phone's overheating. So this is probably too much for my phone, so I'll unplug them. But these just plug into the back of the earplug, and they plug into your USB port on the phone. Okay, I guess it's over. So my phone overheated and Amazon shut down. Hopefully that was okay. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to open it back up here in a second. I guess this phone cannot go live for that long. After all. Yeah, this phone is on fire. Wow. Can't believe how hot this phone is. Super hot. All right, sorry about that. My phone overheated. I'll have to end it. But hopefully this answered a bunch of questions about it. And if it didn't, feel free to ask them otherwise. And again, thanks everybody for watching and chatting about these DJI drones. All right. This phone is hot. Hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot. A lot of views today. Thanks everybody for joining in and being part of it. Whoa! Amazing unmute rate. Huge click-through rate. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Whew. Wow, my phone got so hot. Maybe I'll have to do something else after all. So, live and learn. Let's bring this guy back over here. Now it's all about the YouTube. So you probably saw like nothing the whole time. How do I get back to the chat? Here's get rid of that. Chat. All right, iced tea? Nope. The cost of one drone? $300, $700, $1,100, $250. But I buy them with extra batteries, so that messes with the costs. You know, they cost more when you put new batteries. Put your phone on a heat sink during longer shows. Okay, that's a good idea. I don't know if I have something like that. I have a fan. I guess I could blow a fan at it. That's a thing. But this thing really zooms in. Can I unzoom? I guess not. Anyway, yeah, I was just drinking coffee with chocolate milk in it, with iced coffee with chocolate milk in it. That's my new favorite thing. All right. So it went by about an hour. All right. Appreciate everybody joining in and being part of it. There's a secret about half of these drones on the table that only some people know about. The other half of the drones, totally normal. See. Oh, crap. How do you turn these off? No. How do you turn it off? Oh, wait a minute. Pin to live stream. Oh, that I could pin it. Yeah, you too. I'll probably be back if I can get my phones to work. I got a bunch of other stuff to stream.